record. So good morning, Australia, and good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. We are so grateful that you've joined us this morning. And guys, even more grateful that we have this amazing lady giving up time, her time. She's got her grandchildren with her at the moment. They've just arrived to stay with Nana, and she has given up special, precious time that she could have with these little ones to spend with us and to share with us just how amazing this company is, how incredible our products are. And for our guests on here this morning as well, just a huge welcome. We do believe that by the end of this webinar, you're going to be amazed at what this company offers in terms of our product and the opportunity. And, you know, we are changing lives daily. I see testimonies daily. Yesterday, again, I was close to tears meeting a gentleman up here in Port Douglas, which is North Australia. And I'm just hearing his testimony and him actually saying these words, saying that Protandim has saved my life. So guys, when we have products like this, we cannot help but want to share it with every single person. So I want to introduce to you this morning Linda McCormick. Is it Linda McCormick? Yep. I know you've got a double barrel surname, so I'm never sure if I should use both surnames. But Linda, we are so grateful to have you. I know you've got an amazing story. Guys, Linda is one of our top leaders in the United States. She's already at the 7th level in this company, which is pretty incredible. And it shows you her love and adoration for the company and the products. I know Linda originally started as a product lover, just absolutely fell in love with Protandim, our product, and, you know, wanted to share that with the world. And then soon realized, oh my gosh, there's actually also a business opportunity in this. And Linda has told me how she's just totally fallen in love with this business opportunity. So, Linda, thank you so much. I'm going to hand it over to you. And if we have questions at the end, I just might come back and ask you a few of those questions. So thanks so much.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I can't thank you enough, Charlotte, for this opportunity. It was a delight to share the stage with you at Denver a couple weeks ago now, as we both were honored and humbled by the fact that we become Pro 7. And as we all know, that's a team effort. No one gets there on their own or anything remotely close to being on their own. But I just want to kind of divide up my time tonight in about 3 different parts. I want to let you know a bit of my story, because I think I'm going to relate most to some of you who are older and just getting started in this thing we call network marketing, because I'm seeing a huge growth and volume increase, especially in our young entrepreneurs. I mean, it seems so many of you Australians are on that younger millennial cutting edge, high tech, very skilled, great with people skills. And then there's some of us, I'm 60, I turned 60 last September. And so if any of you are on tonight that you're more in my age category, I hope you stay tuned and let me encourage you. We're going to talk a little bit more about some business tips at the end. And in the middle, after my story, I want to talk a little bit about tru-science and some personal stories we've had here that will help fuel you as you're focusing and having a special campaign with the tru-science. So thanks again for staying on. And so my story, and I used this at Denver when we had to say a few things on stage. You know, right now the company is using the term biohacked, where LifeVantage is hacking the code, our DNA, to get in there and change through what we know as nutrigenomics. We can actually alter the expression of our genetic code. But I use the analogy that I feel like my life has been biohacked by LifeVantage. And in that, I mean, I was at a very low place. Let me back up a bit. I was in Asia for 20 years. I was raised here in Ohio in Northeast US. I went overseas to be a missionary teacher, and I lived between Hong Kong and Taiwan for over 20 years. Multiple international moves, went over with a 1-year-old son, had a second son born in Taiwan. We laugh and we say all American parts in labor, but he was made in Taiwan, born in Taiwan. And so I studied Chinese, was a teacher over there, but I had a health crisis early on. And at that point, in my mid-30s, I really did not want to live. I hurt all the time. So I have come to relate very, very strongly with those who come to me with fibromyalgia kind of things. And I can tell them, absolutely, you don't have to live with that. And that was even before I heard about Protandim, obviously, about 15 years ago or so. But now what we have in our hands, there is just nobody that needs to feel hopeless that we don't have answers that to help the body heal, to enable the body to do what it does best and heal itself when given the right opportunity. So overseas for 20 years, very stressful, but got a lot of answers that health can be found in more natural approaches from the Chinese world that I lived in. And came back to the U.S. about 14 years ago, came back to the U.S. So in that, I started a wellness center and I focused on colon hydrotherapy and reflexology. I laugh, but I say I like to get to the bottom of things. So the bottom of our structure, physically, the feet. I love working on feet. If I would be near you, I just want to grab your feet and massage your feet. And then also the colonics become critical because maybe not in Australia, but I'm telling you, there's a lot of toxic Americans walking around that don't have good elimination. And the fact of the matter is, you won't get well until you address that department. So that is my area of joy and expertise with helping people get their stagnation moving, their digestive issues. And so we're not focusing on the probiotic tonight, but you can imagine that that is one of the key products that I am constantly putting at people, as well as the nerve too, because there is a lot of inflammation when you deal with the gut. You've got colitis, diverticulitis, anything that ends in itis, plus many more of the gut diseases we see these days, Crohn's, celiac, all these things involve inflammation. So please know that if you're dealing with someone that has a lot of bowel issues, gut issues, the two best friends that I see that they are going to have is the Nerve 2 and the ProBio. But we're not talking about that tonight. But that's my area of expertise. And I actually, one reason I didn't plunge into the business, I fell in love with the products. And when I joined, actually all we had was the Nerve 2 and one bottle of tru-science. We didn't have the 4-part regimen. We only had what we call the anti-aging cream. But with that, I built pretty quickly because I shared it with my clients when they came for colon therapy or reflexology, and I could show them the video and explain to them if they were interested in learning how they could slow down cellular aging. So I grew a lot of customers because that's where those of us who start and lead with the product, that's where we go. And so for those of you who are newer in the business, understand leading with product is great. Typically, it will go slower than if you find business-minded people, entrepreneurs who are already healthy enough to start this business. So my world was revolving around people that had health issues, so I was constantly leading with the products. Some of them came on board then as distributors, and I wasn't as aggressive looking for business people because the fact of the matter is, some of us, not a lot, but some of us enjoy what we're doing. I live on a lake, whereas I started wellness centers in commercial space in 2 different cities doing the colon therapy and reflexology. I eventually closed those commercial spaces down and moved the business into my home. I live on a lake. Everyone who comes says, where did this come from? I said, God dropped it out of heaven right when I needed it. So I love what I'm doing. I am not in this business to fire my boss. I am my own boss already. And so what LifeVantage has brought to me is an absolute indispensable piece of the pie that whereas before I had methods of relaxation and detoxification for my clients, I didn't have anything to reduce inflammation. So for me, it has formed just a perfect pie of the pieces I need. And you can be thinking of naturopathic people, wellness practitioners, that maybe my story would be something you could use to introduce to them how this would also add to their practice of what they already do, because it is so powerful of what we have our hands on that has prior to this time been missing with all the natural therapies that people might do. So I work out of my home. I live on a lake. People love to come to me. I'm very much a one-on-one person. I'm in my zone when I'm just listening intensely to where these people are. And if I see they're ready for a business opportunity and they're healthy already, of course, I lead with the business. But so many of my people are not healthy enough to consider a business until we get some of their health issues under control. So that's where I am. And then that's one reason that my business has grown more slowly, but I have enjoyed the journey. I have to say, one of the biggest things about this is we are going to attract people or we're going to distract people if we're too anxious, if we are not at peace with how we're approaching this. I mean, who wants to be around a frenzied network marketing crazy person, you know? And so I am all about reflecting a lifestyle that someone would want to pursue because I enjoy my life. I am at peace. And even the fact that it took me 5.5 years to get to Pro 7, I got to Pro 5 in 1 year. And then because I didn't have this strong business approach and wasn't working at training my team, I really was slow and just plodding along, always staying engaged, always staying connected to the calls, always going to events. I think I only missed like 2, maybe 3 major events in 5.5 years. And that was because I was probably in Hong Kong visiting my son and my grandkids. But I am so impressed with what Australia is doing to have all these means of connection, be it Zoom, your calls, these events that are going on. And that's what I would say to those of you you're kind of going at a slower pace than some. The key is to stay by the fire and to keep sharing. Because look at me, after 5.5 years, it happened. And I got healthier and healthier along the way and helped other people in their journey. So please remember that. So that's kind of my story and where I am now and why I still love what I do, and I'm not looking to stop doing the colon therapy reflexology because it continually feeds into my world new people to share this with, and that's what I enjoy. And not everybody has that benefit. I realize, in fact, one of my worst things is cold calling. I have not had to develop that side because I always have new people coming to me, and it's hard enough to keep up with all the new clients that I have all the time and sharing with them. So I'm glad you didn't ask me to lead in how to do cold calls because that is not where I want to be. That's not what I have to do or want to do because I have so many clients all the time. But I love the balance now that LifeVantage has given me because obviously I can step away from my business here out of my home because now I have the residual income to warrant being able to not do my clients and just do LifeVantage. And I do travel to Canada about once a week. I had the convergence of 2 lines up in the Ontario area, one through Janelle James, who is down there, and she found a couple now, maybe 3 people in Ontario. And they are doing very well. And then I also have an Amish leg that's up there. And that's about a 5 to 7 hour trip for me to run up there for a few days. And I take both Amish people, and I'll be taking Victoria Booth, who is one of my upline team members. And we'll be going up there. She's a nurse, and we'll go up there in a few weeks. So let me talk a little bit about tru-science and tie it in to what you're doing to promote it and maybe a few tips of something that might catch hold to some people. So I was, of course, with the company when the regimen was introduced. And I was thrilled. I thought, well, isn't the cream good enough? I had never been one to fuss a lot with my skin. And in fact, when I was living overseas, I got basal cell carcinoma. I developed skin cancer. And so I had a lot of damage to my skin just because my skin was made in Ohio to stay in Ohio. And now I was in subtropical climates over in Hong Kong and Taiwan and not taking care of myself, not wearing a hat, whatever. And so I had a lot of skin damage in addition to the skin cancer. So it makes me really happy when I go for a facial and I'm asking, the esthetician, so what would you think about my skin? She says, your skin is in amazing shape. I have some sagging things, but that comes with being a grandma, but the actual texture of my skin, the tone of my skin, the color of my skin has so improved with these products that now I've been on just the tru-science for obviously 5.5 years, but then the whole regimen as long as it's been out. And so just a reminder that because it's sulfate-free, paraben-free, formaldehyde-free, gluten-free, no GMOs, no petroleum or mineral oil, no artificial anything in it, I have felt confidence every time I let people feel it. When my clients come, they put it in their hands, they put it on their face, and now with the new skin cream, which I don't know if any of you have felt the hand cream. I mean, probably it'll take a while till it's fully available for you, but that was just launched in Denver, and now I have that where people can put that on their hands. It's a great thing to carry in your pocketbook, ladies, or put it in your car or truck, men, because it really, really feels great. Most of us have rough skin. So the products are amazing, but keep in mind also when you're sharing with people, some of the fabulous things I've seen with the tru-science relate to the fact that your skin is an organ of elimination. And a lot of people don't think of it, but it is the largest organ in our body because it covers so much surface area. But when I see people come to me and they have skin issues, I immediately know that their pathways of elimination are not open elsewhere. Their kidneys, their colon, sometimes their lungs are having a lot of congestion in them. Therefore, the toxins are trying to find their way out through their skin. So it's up to me to try to help them open up the other pathways. And again, that might include a colonic, a detox foot bath, but for sure getting them on Nerf2 and the probiotic, because you got to clean up the gut to help the skin. So the fact that we have Nerf2 to go on the inside as well as the outside with the fabulous tru-science products, I am seeing my clients who come and they get both the outside approach and the inside approach within a couple days. They are calling me and saying, oh my gosh, people are saying, what did you do? Did you have a facelift? Did you go for plastic surgery or what? The toxins are moving out of their body. They are the healing that's happening on their skin, because that's what we see. The first thing we see in anybody is what does their face looks like? What is their skin tone? And so we really, really can be proud of the fact that our company was very, very smart in targeting such major areas of need in the wellness industry. First with the Nerf2 Activator, our flagship product. The second thing that they brought on board was an outside-in approach to Nerf2 activation. So that is huge, and if people start feeling better about how they look and then how they feel on the inside, I mean, what a gift you've given them. So as you share this month with, excuse me, the special campaign for that, just remember to help people understand this is not a cosmetic deal. It turns into looking like it's cosmetic, but it's such a deep healing product. I mean, I've listened to we call her Dr. Fifi, Dr. Natalie Chevreau, who developed the line, and I've listened to her multiple times, and she's shown how it goes down 6 layers deep into the skin. It's healing, and I can testify to that because, again, I had basal cell carcinoma. In fact, they cut on my face. I had quite a large cut when they operated on it. And people today can't even see any scarring at all, none. And I like to make the joke because there's a thing that we say about Chinese is they have this term called losing face. And so I lost some face on when I had my cancer cut out. But you can't even tell because I've been using the formula now, tru-science, for 5 years. And it has done so much deep healing in my skin that, again, for a 60-year-old, I'm pretty happy with the tone of my skin. So that's my thing about the tru-science. Let me see. Oh, I got to tell you another funny joke. And I hope you won't be offended at this, but just kind of file this away. So I did have a couple stories to share with you. I had a guy that was out doing weed whacking with one of these electric weed whackers. He was trimming grass somewhere, and hornets started blowing up and coming into his space, and he had the weed whacker. He couldn't turn it off, and the hornets were coming around. The weed whacker ended up cutting into his leg. It turned his leg into, he said, hamburger. It was cutting into muscle. He was a mess. And because he couldn't keep the wasps or hornets away and control the weed whacker. And he said, oh, this will be a story for tru-science. He's been one of my distributors since the beginning. That man started putting tru-science on his leg, both the clear serum and the number 4 cream, face cream, anti-aging face cream. And we looked at it the other night at a meeting, and we could not believe, from the pictures he showed us of how cut up his leg was to what we saw, it was unbelievable. So that's one story from a man. And let me tell you another story from a man, because usually we think of tru-science as mostly for the women, because we like to take care of our skin. But I had an old gentleman. He was 70 years old, okay? He was a distributor and kind of a disgruntled one. And he called fussing at me that his skin didn't clear up. 70-year-old, lots of wrinkles. And it didn't clear up within a month of using tru-science. And I'm going, come on, Jim, give me a break. You've had these wrinkles a long time. And he says, yeah, but you made it sound like it was going to, take care of this so quickly and whatnot. And I said, you need to give it some more time, okay? So he stayed on the product. But then about a week later, he called me and he said, Linda, he said, you're a colon hydrotherapist. I said, right. He said, what do you do for hemorrhoids? And I said, you know that cream that you said didn't clear up your skin fast enough? I said, you put some of that on that hemorrhoid and see what happens, because hemorrhoids are about inflammation, okay? And he did, and he called me back. And within a few days, that hemorrhoid was cleared up. So if it doesn't work on one end, it'll work on the other. But the fact is, it works on every part. We've even had people who have a little sty in their eye. And again, it's red, it's inflamed. And Maria Williams told us put a little cream on that. So there's really nothing that we can't apply the tru-science to. We even have Amish putting it on their calves when they start, when their cows give birth to calves and there's mastitis and some kind of infection on the udders and whatnot. The Amish are applying it all over animals for very effective care. So there's nothing that is out of bounds with our wonderful tru-science products. So I hope that's helpful. And then lastly, I want to give you a little bit of a business tip that really relates to, again, where I am as an older person getting involved in network marketing. Because again, I have had this past life being overseas for 20 years. And I actually got just depressed at one point, because when I came back to the US and I wasn't sure what I was going to do, I started the wellness center, and then the economy got bad and I got pretty discouraged. But LifeVantage came into my lap. It biohacked my life. And so like I say, I really want to encourage those of you who are looking at your life now. Maybe you're in the second season of life, 50 or older, and you're like, okay, I don't have the retirement I need. The biggest thing is maintain your health, all right? We've got to take care of us, because as a business, I am my best asset. And if I don't take care of me, my business is not going to thrive. But the other day I forget where I was traveling to, might have been out in Denver, when I had this aha moment. And some cities in the world, I don't know where you live in Australia it happened, some cities kind of start and they're kind of not well organized, and they kind of grow up around a lake or a river or whatever. And then other cities are purposely designed and they're very organized. They have a fabulous infrastructure. They have a great road system, great telecommunication and all that. But others, it's kind of like hodgepodge. And of course, I lived in Asia, and sometimes, they were digging under big buildings and creating the mass transit railway system, and everything was always torn up. And it was always a mess when you had cities that kind of grew up kind of in a confused, chaotic state. Well, this is my analogy, and so just bear with me a second. But what I have come to see is we all come into LifeVantage with a personal infrastructure. So just like building a city, or when you build a house. Now, I'm not obviously a construction guru, but from what I've seen with building a house is there's a plan, and you have to have certain things in place. You have to have good foundations. You have to have the water supply coming into the house. You don't build the house and then decide to lay the foundation, or then decide to put in the water and electrical after you put up the shingles or the roof or whatever else. So the infrastructure of a city, the infrastructure of a house, and the infrastructure of our lives really helps determine the success, the ongoing success, and sometimes the speed of how we're going to grow this business. So I would like to propose that your infrastructure, what you came into this company with as a person, could also relate into several parts. So whereas a city or building a house, you need a water supply, you need sewer supply, you need electric, gas, you need telecommunications systems. When you come into this business, you come in with a skill set, with a life experience set. And you may be strong with people. You may have excellent people skills, but that skill is going to be part of your infrastructure. And if you're not good with people, and that doesn't have anything to do with whether you're an introvert or extrovert, that just means, how do you relate to people? What kind of a listener are you? Do you have a world of people already in your life? Some people in LifeVantage that has gone quickly, Rachel Jackson and many that come into this business, they already have an established infrastructure where they have networks of people. They know a lot of people. And so that is part of your infrastructure. And if you don't come in with it, this is a great opportunity to start building your people skills, because we're all about equipping people with personal development. Another part of your infrastructure is time. How much time do you have that you're willing to give this? There is no substitute for putting time into this business. You heard me say I was pretty much part-time doing this because I still loved what I did, and I'm really the only colon hydrotherapist in like a 3-county area. I mean, if anyone's doing colon therapy or anybody wants it, they come to me. So I was pretty busy with that. But we have to give time to this. If you consider this a hobby, then just give it a little bit of time. But if you're serious about growing this as a significant business and with money coming back to you, you've got to put in the time and structure your time accordingly, okay? So your people skills, how many people you know, your time is another part of your infrastructure. And then I would say a third part of that is your skills in technology. Because Darren Jensen in Denver stood up and said, basically, LifeVantage, if you are not growing in your use of social media, if you are not into all of these means we have, of all the apps we have that we're developing. I mean, Ryan Goodwin, do we not know, he is amazing with how he's taking our company to the top to make this a very portable, user-friendly, tension-free business that we have these apps and we have these programs for. But guess what? A therapist like me, I would rather work on feet and colons than work on a computer, okay? That's not my first love, to be sitting on a screen. But it's a means to an end for me. And for me to grow my business, I've had to grow in accepting technology as a legitimate part of the infrastructure or the strength of my business. And then the fourth part, I would say, for your personal infrastructure would be your application of personal growth. There is no substitute for listening to one of my favorite things I do daily is darrendaily.com. Darren Hardy is one of my all-time favorite authors on entrepreneurship. So he does a free 3 to 5 minute thing every morning that I listen to on a tip, advice, personal development. He's always great. DarrenDaily.com. I also, of course, am a Jim Rohn fan, a John Maxwell fan. I've been reading his stuff for years. So personal growth is a must. So if your infrastructure is a bit week coming into this business, know that you are in the perfect place to, not that you have to be off the charts great in all 4 of these areas, but it seems like while all of us come in with strengths in certain areas, we also have like a weak side that we will have to continually be working at shoring up. Although we focus on our strengths, if you're great with people, keep working with people, find team members that you can help you with the technology. If you're weak in that because maybe you're older like me and it just isn't something that's natural for you. You don't have a lot of intuitive technology sense, okay? But we've got to keep our infrastructure strong because like a house, like a city, we are the different components of our world. And we have to, because we're in business for ourselves, but not by ourselves, we have to have some certain skills that we keep growing in, but we also have a great team players that we can always keep learning from, as I have been learning from you all. I mean, and I don't even like to refer to upline, downline. It's just, we are all team. We all contribute. We all share in each other's growth, each other's success. Yeah, we're in it to win it, and we're in it together. So thank you so much for your time tonight, for listening to me. I am honored to be part of the Australian team. I was just, it was a gift of God that I shared it with my dear friend Amy Hillis, who shared it with Bob Ungers, who is Carrie Unger's dad. And at that critical time in their life, when Carrie's mom was suffering with that diagnosis, the whole family was, with the diagnosis of pancreatic cancer. What LifeVantage did for them, what Protandim did for Carrie's mom to give her some quality of life for the last months that we had her on this earth. It's just one of the biggest, most wonderful stories of my LifeVantage journey. And look what it turned into for Team Positive, and then all you others in Australia working together now for this global expansion in what we get to be part of. So I couldn't be happier. I couldn't be more blessed. So thank you again, Charlotte, for the wonderful joy of meeting you and inviting me on this. And I'll close unless there's questions.
Oh my gosh, you've been amazing, especially listening to those the stories. I just love the stories. Linda, could I ask you, what does a typical day for Linda look like?
Wow. I would say my time is divided. Like, I schedule my clients, because I work out of my home in the lower level of my home. I had a paraplegic fella come to me the other day. He comes every 2 weeks. He was run over by a pickup truck when he was 18 months old. So he has very limited use of anything below his waist. He has to have colon hydrotherapy. And so I work with people early morning, midday, late at night as they need to come in. Probably 2 to 3 clients a day on average. But then my LifeVantage business is in between all that, where I'm making calls, I'm doing launch calls. I just got 2 more requests today to do launch calls. I'm following up. So I love the fact that I can be flexible with scheduling my time for my clients and my LifeVantage business. I did a major meeting this past Wednesday night, about an hour away, for some Amish friends, and we couldn't use any technology. See, for that, we have flip charts. We've turned PowerPoint presentations into flip charts, and because they had no technology, there was no fan, it was 95 degrees. Well, that's Fahrenheit for us. We were all sweating and drinking our Axio and having a ball. It was great. But that's a typical day or week for me. An average 2, maybe 3 clients a day, Monday through Saturday, and a couple meetings a week, and then multiple calls, texts, presentations throughout the day. And that's because that's become the lion's share of my income as well. And so that answered your question.
Yeah, fantastic. Linda, I often find that distributors are under the impression that they've got to find hundreds of people or thousands of people. So if you don't mind, can you share with us how many distributors have you brought into this business to get you to a Pro 7 level?
I take great comfort in the fact, and that's a great question, because I have heard that the average, that I am well within the average of the elites. I mean, when, for instance, Scott Satterfield or a Tyler Daniels or the Campbells, Dr. Campbell, Seth Campbell, when they tell me that they've brought in around 30 to 35 distributors to get a few who will run even after they're successful. And I'm like thinking, who wouldn't listen to a Pro 9 or a Pro 10 and say, yeah, I want on board? But I have brought in about that many as well. I'm up to about 35. I just upgraded a customer the other day, and I'm upgrading one tomorrow that's ready to run, and then another one next week that's ready to run. So it's a continual thing, because the attrition rate, people don't want to stick to this a lot of times. And so we have to keep looking for the people who want it as bad as we do. So yeah, I'm in my mid 30s as far as how many distributors I brought in, but I actually have 9 legs. So, and probably half of those are really serious. They go to the events, but the others I'm not giving up on. I don't burn any bridges, because there's a timing aspect with this, as you know, and maybe they'll re-engage at a later date.
That is so exciting because it just shows, guys, you don't need to go find hundreds, right? You just need 30. Like I have heard the same, the average is 30, 35 people. And it's not about those individuals, it's sometimes about the ones that they know, it's the contacts they bring in. So,
Yep.
you know, I was talking to a Pro 9 in Hawaii, and he was saying to me that he also has only, like, you know, introduced 30 people. But one day, one of the people he introduced Brandon Cunningham. So
There you
wouldn't you
go.
love that?
There you go.
So,
There you go.
So the real secret, guys, is just to keep going. Just keep going. Just don't quit. So that's super exciting. Linda, my last question for you is this. For a new distributor, what books would you recommend they read? Your top 3 books.
GoPro, Eric Worre. Simple, basic. Eric came to many of our events over the last year and a half, and I got to hear him. Love his stuff. GoPro for sure. Carrie Dickey, our upline, wrote an excellent book, and I'm going to get the title wrong, but it's that idea of networking. Venus, something, A View from Venus. It takes off on that idea of men are from Mars, women are from Venus, a network marketing and her success. Oh, forgive me. I just gave the copy away, or I'd go find it and look at the title. But that one I love. And again, anything by Darren Hardy. The Entrepreneur Roller Coaster is a recent one that Maria gave me, and I'm loving that. But Darren Hardy, who does this Darren Daily, also wrote The Compound Effect. That was my first introduction to him. And just the fact that those little changes every day will make a huge difference over time. And that, to me, is what this network marketing is all about, is those incremental daily disciplines and changes to do a few things at least towards the goal of making it a lifestyle, which will create this amazing, amazing run. So those are my favorites.
Oh, I love that. You know, the compound effect, guys, when I was in Denver now, we had a panel of the top 9 producers within our team, and this is the global team. And we were asked the same question about what book has impacted you the most. And it was super interesting to me that 6 out of the 9 people said The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. So if you haven't read that one, go and get it. It's a tiny book. It won't take you long to read, but it really shifts your mind from thinking that when you just do a little bit that it doesn't matter, and understanding how much that does matter. So awesome. Linda, I could listen to you the whole day. Seriously, you have been amazing. And I've seen some of the comments that people are loving your stories, and you know, just the way you're sharing and your excitement, and the fact really that you've built this business to a Pro 7 level without social media. Pretty amazing. So congratulations again. I know you're a new Pro 7, and we're so super grateful to have had your time on here this morning. And guys, thank you everyone for joining us. We hope you have a wonderful day today in Australia. We're certainly going to have a great day up north here. It's a nice warm one. But thanks so much again, everyone, for joining us. Thank you, Linda. I will put this recording up pretty soon, guys. Thank you so much.